Good morning, grade 2. Welcome to our English module. Are you ready to learn? Great. Please prepare your notebook, your content book, and your workbook. Again, please prepare your notebook, content book, and your workbook. Let's start. Let's read our Esther. Through understanding Block 12, Faithians will acknowledge that they are stewards of God. They ought to be found faithful, regardless of how small or the big amount or the responsibility is. Developing diligence and honesty to a given work and be faithful in accomplishing it truthfully. Okay, as what I have said yesterday, first, through this block, we will acknowledge or we will know that we are stewards of God. God has entrusted us something. Okay, God has given us a privilege or a favor. That's why, because of that, we must be found faithful, regardless of how small or big it is. Maliit man or malaki yung bagay na binigay or pinagkaloob ng Lord sa atin, we must be found faithful in it. Okay, for example, you're studying, right? That is one of God's favor to you. And as a student, you must be a good steward. How will you be a good steward or a good student? You will do your work on time, do your classworks, submit it on time, listen to teacher, participate in class, and doing or answering all the things that you need to do truthfully. So those are the things that you need to do because God has given to you that favor or privilege. You must also do it for His glory. We're not doing it. We are not studying because it's just there or because our parents told us to do so. Yeah, part of it, but most especially, we are studying because we are to glorify God. We are to please God. We are to please people we are not to please people in everything that we will do, but we are to please God. So may it be big or small, if someone has given you something, has entrusted to you something, make the best out of it. Be diligent, be truthful, and honest in that. For our Bible verse, Proverbs 19:1, better to be poor and walk in integrity than rich and crooked in one's ways. So it is always good and better that we will walk with integrity, okay? With good attitude, with honesty, with pride, but not the pride na to the point that it would be boasting, right? But with confidence that God is with us. Then, being rich and masama naman yung dinadaan or masama yung attitude. Okay, God doesn't want that. He wants us to be dependent on Him and to do our best for Him. For our principle, Faithians are diligent and truthful doing their tasks. Okay, I have here a table. Let's read what's the title? Elements of a folk tale. Again, elements of a folk tale. Now, let's go to the story Scaredy Sam. Let's go to the story Scaredy Sam. Open your books on page 73. Okay, open the book, open your content book on page 73. And then we'll find out who are the characters, what is the setting, what is the problem, the solution, and those things first, okay? Now, the characters in the story are Sam, Sid, and his mother, or their mother. Again, the characters are Sam, Sid, and the mother. Next, where is the setting? The setting is the house. Okay, the setting is the house of Sam. Next, what is the problem in the story? Sam is scared of the dark. If Sam is scared in the dark or of the dark, that's a problem. So what's the solution? The solution is Sam wore his mask and was not scared anymore. Okay. So for today, we have discovered or found out the characters, setting, problem, solution of the story Scaredy Sam. And now, we will read June's Seed and find out the different parts of the story. So I know that we have read it already yesterday, but again we will read it today, and we have something to do while you are listening to me reading the story. Okay. Do you see these icons? Okay. As I read the story, you will draw these icons if a person is told in the story of, or if there is a person or a new character in the story. Okay, if you think that it is a character, you will draw a person. It can be not like this one. You can just draw stickman. Okay, no need to like super copy it. You may just draw stickman so that you will have an identification. Okay, so draw an outline of a person whenever a new character is introduced. So if you think it's a character, draw a person. Next, an outline of the house where the setting is described. So if you think a setting is being described in the story, you draw a house. Okay, again, you may draw an outline of your own, just to study. This is just a guide, okay? So again, what is the setting? A setting is where the story happens. Next, you will draw sad face first. Sad face, if that is a problem, if there is a problem in the story, if the character faces a problem, and then a happy face if the problem is solved. So if you think a problem is, or a character faces a problem, you will draw a sad face there, and then if you think the problem is being solved, you will draw a happy face there. Okay, so what is the icon light for? Okay, we will write it, or we will use it later. Okay, I'll discuss to you later. Okay, now. Okay, sorry. So listen to me first. I'll read the story and then draw those things if you found out again the person, if there's a new character, a house, if a setting is being described, a sad face if there's a problem, and a happy face if there is, or the problem is being solved or is solved already. Okay, open your books on page 94. Okay, I'll read the story now. June's Seed. Long ago, there lived an old king in China. He couldn't see very well. He couldn't hear very well. He couldn't speak very well. But he was a very wise man. He knew that it was time to choose a new king. But who? Next page. The king sat by his window and looked out. He had a beautiful garden. As he looked at the plants, he had an idea. He asked his gardener for a bag of seeds. The next day, the king asked all the young people of the kingdom to come to the palace. He gave them each a seed from the bag. Plant your seed and look after it, he said. The person who takes the best care of it will become the next king. You have 1 month to grow your plants. Next page. June was the best gardener in the king's palace. He always worked hard, or very hard. Even thought June would win the contest, or everyone thought June would win the contest. June planted his seed in a pot. He watered it every day. He put it in the sunlight, but it did not grow. Soon, all his friends had plants in their pots. Some plants had flowers. Some grew into vegetables. Some even grew fruit. June was sad. He didn't know what was wrong with his seed. He cried, but his pot was still empty. At the end of the month, the king came to see the pots. Where he saw June's pot, he smiled. "Why is it empty?" he asked. "I don't know," said June. "I do," said the king. "All the seeds I gave were cooked," he said. "A seed that's cooked can never become a plant." June's friends were ashamed. It was true. Just like June's pot, their pots had been empty too. So what had they done? Next page. They had thrown away the seeds given by the king and had planted one of their own. Only June had been honest. "You are the real winner," said the king. The people celebrated. They knew June would make a good king. Okay, do you like the story? Okay, even though we read it for the second time, but it's still a nice story to be heard, and there's a lesson also that we can learn from it. Okay, now what you're going to do is copy and answer this on your notebook. Okay, copy first the title, and then you draw a table, and then characters, you write who are the characters in the story, the setting, the problem, the solution, and the lesson. Okay. The lesson means, or the moral is the lesson that you have learned, or we have learned from the story. Okay? When we say what we have learned, what lessons can we pick up from the story? Or what lesson did you learn from the story of June's Sea? That's called moral, the moral lesson of the story. Or in short, the moral. Okay, you may pause this video for a while and then answer. What will help you to answer that? Diba kanina I asked you to put a mark or put an outline or an icon, yung drawing. If it's a character, okay, let me go back to that slide. If it's a character, you will draw a stickman or a human. If it is a setting, you draw a house. If it is a problem faced by the character, you will draw a sad face. If the problem is solved, you will draw a happy face. And then, okay, now for the moral, it's up to you. What lesson can we pick up from the story? Okay, copy this on your notebook and answer it. Pause the video for a while. Then when you're done, just proceed with the video. Okay, now, what is a folktale? A folktale is a story passed down from one person to another over many hundreds of years. So let's have an example. Okay, do you know stories that starts with once upon a time or a long time ago? I know you do. So those are examples of folktale. When we say folktale, yung mga story na pinagpasa-pasahan na ng super tagal na. Super tagal na ng story. And meron din siyang moral story. Okay? Or moral lesson of the story. When we say it's a folktale, it is a story passed down from siguro sa lolo pa ng lolo ng lolo ng lolo ng lolo ng lolo ng lolo natin hanggang sa malaman na natin, hanggang sa malaman nyo na. Okay, we still know that story. And then, okay, it has a moral lesson. Okay, copy this first also in your notebook. Next. Okay, we have different parts of the folktale. What are the different parts of a folktale? One, it often begins with a long time ago or once upon a time. Okay, one thing that comes first into my mind is the story of Cinderella, right? I know all of you, I think all of you are familiar with the story of Cinderella, mostly the Disney princesses, right? They start with the once upon a time or a long time ago. Okay. Another one is yung mga alamat. Okay? Yung mga alamat ng mangga, alamat ng guava, alamat ng lanzones. Okay? Yung mga fables also. So those are the examples of folktale. Often begins with, remember this, often begins with long time ago or once upon a time. Next. Characters. So in the characters of a folktale, there is a both good and bad. There is a good character and a bad character. Okay, can we analyze who is the good character in the story June's Seed? It's June. How about who's the bad? Okay, it is the youth or the young people who cheated, who planted their own seeds instead of planting what the king has given them. Okay, remember in a folktale, there is a bad character and a good character. Next one. A folktale has a problem, and then it has also a solution to the problem. And lastly, it has a moral lesson in the story. Okay, moral lesson from the story. Okay, so all of these we can find in a folktale. Tomorrow we will be discussing what you have answered in the table, okay? In the characters, the setting, the problem, the solution, and the moral of the story. But I'll be able to see it already because you will submit that to me. You will submit what you have written in your notebook. Okay, but don't worry, we will discuss it tomorrow. Okay, copy this on your notebook also. Take a picture of this also, okay, so that I can see if you have copied. So what will you copy? You have this one. Copy this on your notebook, all of this, and this one also. Okay, now let's go back to our principle. Pythians are diligent and truthful, doing their tasks. What does diligent means or diligence means? Diligence means being careful and persistent work or effort. So when you do your work with diligence, you are careful and you are persistent. Ibig sabihin, pursigido. You are determined and you do it with full and great effort. Okay? Have you done this classwork with diligence? How? Write your answer in a complete sentences. So I know we did a lot today. We did a lot of writing, a lot of answering. And can you share with me? Have you done this classwork with diligence? How? Okay. Write your answer in a complete sentence. Okay, grade 2 again. Write your answer in a complete sentence. How do we write our sentences? We always start with capital or big letter and end with period. So I must see your sentences in starting with a big letter and ends with a period. Okay, and next, answer your classwork. Finish S2 on your English workbook page 24. Again, finish S2 on your English workbook page 24. Okay, so that is it for today. Answer all what you need to answer in your notebook. Write them all and then answer also your S2 on your workbook, page 24. Reminder again, submit your answers in your notebook and your S2 in the Google Classwork. You must submit both of them, grade 2. Okay, not only your S2, but submit your workbook and your notebook. Is that understood? Okay, I hope that you will follow my instructions, so I will be able to see it later. What will you submit to me? Okay, that is it for today, grade 2. I'll see you again tomorrow in our online class. Goodbye.